And this is a 2-6 homework, 31 to 69 odd. 31, map of Florida, distance between Jacksonville and Tallahassee, 2.6 centimeters on the map. If 2 centimeters equals 120 miles, what is the distance between the two cities? So the distance is in miles. So we got miles over centimeters equals miles over centimeters. Okay? Now, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I went ahead and I cross-multiplied. That's kind of what the book is doing. It's not really necessary. But anyway, so I got x over 2.6 equals 120 over 2, so I can cross-multiply. Let's use a different color here. I can do the 2 times the x, and that will equal the 2.6 times the 120. Let's go back to black now. Okay, so I get 2x equals 120 times 2.6. 120 times 2.6 is 312. 2x equals 312. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 156 miles. So I plug in 156 to check. Okay, here I'm checking. 156 over 2.6 equals 120 over 2, or 60. And I multiply 60 by 2.6, and I get 312. I'm sorry, 60. 2.6 into 156 is 60. Anyway, so I check it. 33. Restaurant made $545 from selling 110 hamburgers. So we got dollars over burgers. Dollars over burgers. So $545 over 110 burgers, that's my proportion, equals X dollars. How much money did they make? X dollars over 53 burgers. So $545 over $545 over 110 burgers equals X dollars over 53 burgers. So I multiply both sides by 53. I don't cross multiply because I don't really need to. I just want to get 1x, and so if I multiply both sides by 53 by the multiplicative inverse of 1 over 53, then I will have 1x. So now I take my calculator and I'm going to do 53 times 545 divided by 110. Now I do this all in one step to avoid rounding errors. Okay, so 53 times 545 divided by 110, and I get $262.59. And that the rest of that stuff, 0.09091, just rounds to that zero. Okay, 35. 7 over 4. Now we're just solving the proportions. Okay, we got a fraction equaling a fraction. 7 over 4 equals f minus 4 over 8. Okay, so I got means extremes here. If a over b equals c over d, then AD equals BC. Okay, so if 7 over 4 equals f minus 4 over 8, then 7 times 8 equals, well, I just multiply both sides by 8. I could have multiplied the right side by 4, but anyway. I just multiply both sides by 8. The 4 cancels into the 8 twice. I get 14. F minus 4 equals 14. I add 4 to both sides, and I get 18. Now, let me do this the way they're doing it in the book. I'm going to erase all this. Let me do it the way they're doing it in the book. 7 over 4 equals f minus 4 over 8. So we're going to do the means times the extremes. So 7 times 8 equals 4 times f minus 4. 56 equals 4f minus 16. 4f minus 16. Add 16 to both sides. 56 plus 16 equals 4f minus 16 plus 16. 4f equals 72, and f equals 4 goes into 1. 4 times equals 18. Here, let me fill out that list. 72 divided by 4 equals 4f divided by 4, the multiplicative inverse, and then there f equals 18. Okay, 37. Now 37 I do the traditional way. I get 4v plus 7 over 15 equals 6v plus 2 over 10, and I cross multiply. 10 times 4v plus 7 equals 15 times 6v plus 2. I can cross multiply because I've got a fraction equaling a fraction. Okay, I eliminate parentheses. 40v plus 7 equals 90v plus 30. I subtract 40v from both sides. I get 70 equals 50v plus 30. I subtract 30 from both sides. I get 40 equals 50v. Divide both sides by 50. V equals 4/5. And then I check the 4/5, and it takes me, you can go through that, check it out for yourself. Okay. 39. 2n minus 4 over 5 equals 3n plus 3 over 10. Cross multiply. 10 times 2n minus 4 equals 5 times 3n plus 3. 20n minus 40 equals 15n plus 45. And I subtract 15n from both sides, and I get 5n minus 40 equals 15. I add 40 to both sides. I get 5n equals 55. I divide both sides by 5, and I get n equals 11, and then I check that. 41. Braces. 2 out of 5 students have braces. If there are 325 students in the 9th grade, so we have braces and students. Braces and students. Okay? Now, if there are 1,200, oops, I'm sorry. If there are 325 students in the 9th grade, how many have braces? So this is students and X number of braces. So 2 braces over 5 students equals X braces over 325 students. And I multiply both sides by 325. So I multiply 2 over 5 times 325. 5 goes into 325 65 times. 65 times 2 is 130. Now 43, you know, to tell you the truth, I got to check 43 in I'm not ready to answer 43. I should have left more room for it. I worked out the table, but so right here's the ratio. Do any 2 of the ratios you form a proportion? Well, they all more or less equal each other. I mean, they all seem to be equal. But I'm not sure about that. So let's just leave that, and I will come back to that during class. 45. Multiple representations. Okay, 45. All right. So, you will explore how changing the lengths of the sides of a shape by a factor changes the perimeter of that shape. Okay. Draw a square ABCD. There it is, ABCD, right here. Okay? And I'm going to say that each one of these sets of 4, that's 1 unit. So this is 2. Each side is 2. Okay? Now draw a square with sides twice as long. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is 4. So the side is 4. Draw a square FGHJ with sides half as long. Okay, this side is 1. Excuse me. Pardon me. Okay, so ABCD has sides of 2, perimeter of 8. MNPG has sides of 4 and perimeter of 16, and FGHJ has sides of 1 and perimeter of 4. So, if you double the perimeter, you increase the perimeter, you I'm sorry, if you double the size of the side, you double the perimeter. Okay? I went from 1 to 2, and the perimeter went from 4 to 8. And I went from 2 to 4, and the perimeter went from 8 to 16. So I doubled the sides. Seems like I doubled the perimeter. That's what I would say. That's my conjecture. 47. Reasoning. Compare and contrast ratios and rates. Well, a ratio, they're the same, okay? So we've already talked about a bunch of things so far that are rates. Let's see let's look at the word problems. Let's freaking look at the work here. Like here, 2 out of 5 students. That's a rate, and it's also a ratio. Okay, they function in the same manner. Number 40, 3 out of every 8 students are athletes. Okay, so that's a rate, and then the ratio is the proportion. It's the number of, like, there are 1,280 students, so how many are not athletes? So that's a proportion. Anyway, they function the same way. On Monday, the restaurant making $545 from selling 110 hamburgers. That's a rate. That is a rate. And you could reduce that to a single number. Okay, a proportion starts out as being the comparison of one scale to another. That's about the best I can do right now. 49. I'm sure I'll have to come up with something better than that in class. 49. Writing in math. Okay, Marcus reads a highway sign, then looks at his gas gauge. He holds 10 gallons of gas in his car, gets 32 miles per gallon. That's 65 miles per hour. If he maintains this speed, will he make it to Atlanta? Okay, well, he gets 32 miles per gallon. And he's got 10 gallons, so he can go 320 miles on that 10 gallons. And he's only got to go 200 miles, so he easily has enough gas. 51. Okay, x is proportional to y, 2 is proportional to 3, and y is proportional to z. So x over y equals 2 over 3, y over z equals 3 over 5. And if x equals 10, so we have 10 over y equals 2 over 3. Okay, so 30 equals 2y, cross multiply, so y equals 15. So 15 over z equals 3 over 5, cross multiply, 5 times 15 equals 3z, okay, and divide both sides by 3, z equals 25. Now let me go over that again. So if the proportion of x to y equals 2 to 3, x over y equals 2/3, and yz equals 3/5, and x equals 10, then we can write 10 over y equals 2/3. Solve for y, which we do by cross multiplying, and we get 30 equals 2y, y equals 15. We then plug in y for 15 into the second equation, so we get 15 over z equals 3/5, cross multiply, 5 times 15 equals 3z, divide by 3, and 3 goes into 15, 5 times z equals 25. 53. Similar triangles. Okay, you've had a lot of these you'll get a lot of this next year. Similar triangles are really, really big deal. Okay, so LMN is similar to LPO. So what is Z? Well, similar corresponding sides of similar triangles are proportional. So 70 over 180, 70, the short side over this side here, equals z over 360. 70 over 180 equals z over 360. And then we just use our techniques to solve it. Multiply both sides by 360, 180 goes into 360 twice. 2 times 70 is 140. Okay, 55, spiral review. So let's see, this should be pretty quick. Okay, absolute value of x plus 5 equals negative 8. No solution. Absolute value of 2p minus 3 equals 17. 2p minus 3 equals 17. 2p equals 20. P equals 10. 2p minus 3 equals negative 17. 2p equals negative 14. P equals negative 7. Did I check it? No. Let me check it real quick. Put in the 10. 22 times 10 minus 3 is 17. Absolute value of 17 is 17. Now let's put in negative 7. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Minus 3 is negative 17. The absolute value of negative 17 is 17. 59. Health. When exercising, a person's pulse rate should not exceed a certain limit. This maximum rate is represented by the expression 0.8 times 220 minus A, where A is age in years. Find the age of a person whose maximum pulse rate is 122 more than their age. So, 122 plus A equals 0.8 times 220 minus A. Okay? Their maximum pulse rate is 122 more than their age. So that's going to equal their maximum pulse rate, which is 0.8 times 220 minus A. And distribute 122 plus A equals 176. 0.8 times 220 is 176. Minus 0.8A. Add 0.8A to both sides. I get 122 plus 1.8A equals 176. Subtract 122 from both sides. I get 1.8A equals 54. Divide 54 by 1.8 and you get 30. A equals 30. 61. 7g minus 14 equals negative 63. Add 14 to both sides. 7g equals negative 49. G equals negative 7. Let's check it. Negative 49 minus 14 is negative 63. 63. Now they're getting pretty easy. T over 8 minus 6 equals negative 12. Add 6 to both sides. T over 8 equals negative 6. Multiply both sides by 8. T equals negative 48. Negative 48 divided by 8 is negative 8. Is negative 48 divided by 8 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12. 65. 3 plus 16. Oh, we're just evaluating expressions now. Okay. 3 plus 16 divided by 8 times 5. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Times 5 is 10. 3 from plus 10 is 13. Can't check that one. 67. 4p equals 22. Divide both sides by 4p equals 5.5. 69. 1.25y equals 4.375. Y equals 4.375 divided by 1.25. And 4.375 divided by 1.25 is 3.5. That's it.